YouTube, this is Murphy Productions 828 here. I have decided to review the season 16 episodes of Thomas and Friends. So I will start off with Race to the Rescue. I know there have been reviews before, mainly Miss Olive Blossom released his earlier tonight, or last night, probably by the time I upload this. But, I still want to do it. So let me begin. So first off, let's start with the pros of Race to the Rescue. So the first thing I noticed, pretty much actually right away, is that they came out with some pretty, throughout the whole episode actually, they came out with some pretty nice camera angles and animation. What I really was expecting out of this season was to have a little bit better angles of shots and how they animated it. Because obviously season 13 started off with okay shots and angles, and then each season it seemed to get better and better. I can remember from last season, from season 15, one of my favorite, shots they made was the one from Edward the Hero, where it starts off with pretty much as if the camera is actually right next to one of Edward's trucks at the very end of the train. So you see the long line and then him curving around I thought that was a great angle. And this is kind of why I like Nitrogen Studios with how they've done animation, just because they always seem to come up with better angles each season. From this, it seemed good. Throughout, I guess you could say they were pretty nice. One of my, favorites would be the one with Charlie and Flynn. I mean, I know it wasn't the best scene dialogue-wise, but the angle kind of, and how they filmed it was pretty nice. So the next thing is there wasn't as much Thomas as there's been. To me, it's great. I mean, they only included him in maybe one and a half minutes of the actual episode. So I give them credit to that, is that they didn't overuse Thomas or use him too much in the episode. It's just a simple dialogue and shots of him. The next thing I'd like to go over is pretty much, the characters used in this episode. So let's start off with the main roles, which is pretty much Flynn and Birdie and Butch. To me, that's a great thing. I mean, it was nice to see all three of them get a major role. A major role in the episode. So I thought that was good. In the opening scene where they talk about how people are special, and then there's Flynn. That was kind of stupid, but whatever. Some of the stuff was good. The one thing that really stood out to me is Gordon. Now, the reason I say this is if you go back and watch that clip, if any of you didn't notice this, if you count how many coaches he's pulling, he is pulling 5 coaches. Okay? Finally. We have not seen Gordon or pretty much any engine pulling 5 coaches except for maybe once or twice in the first season. And it's good. It shows that it's not just only pulling 2 coaches or something. Okay? They can pull 5. So I'm happy with that. Another thing would be that they are adding brake vans on the trains. Thank God. Finally, they're getting some sense. I mean, there is once in this episode where there was not a brake van. It was when James was pulling a truck or something in the first scene, or the opening scenes. But other than that, they had a brake van on every single train, I think, that needed one. So that was good. The next thing is we finally, and I mean finally, see Flynn drive on a road. See, apparently they didn't realize that even though they said he could drive on road and rail, they decided to not let him drive on the road until now. Which is pretty sad. It took them this long to do it. I mean, they could have at least maybe had him driving on the road at some point in Day of the Diesels, So it was good. He finally went on the road, even though the way he went on the road was pretty lame. I mean, yeah. I'll get into that later, though. Another thing is, I'm glad that when Flynn pretty much said he hasn't been on the road in a while, I know it's pretty sad that he hasn't been on the road for a while, but I'm at least glad that they said he hadn't been on the road for a long time instead of he's never been on the road. I mean, I know some of you have like, why is it that he hasn't been on the road for so long? He's a fire truck. He should have been on the road. But you have to at least give them credit for not saying that he hasn't been on the road at all. Another thing involving Flynn is when Flynn was pretty much passing Birdie and Butch and said how, oh, I couldn't help you because I have something else to do. Even though he was talking about also how he was nervous about looking silly or something. At least not having him pretty much doing nothing and then saying, oh, I can't do this and leave. At least when Flynn told him he couldn't do it, he actually had to get to a burning shed. But at least he had something to do, which is why he didn't help them. Even though partly it was also because he didn't want to look stupid for some reason. So now we get to some of the major things that we've had an issue with that they've improved on. First off, there were only 2 strikes this time. First being Butch, second being Birdie. It's an improvement a little bit. I mean, at least it's not 3. We're all used to it, so we all know how it is. At least they minimized it to 2. And then another thing, and I'm really happy with this, there was not a single bit of rhyming in this. I could not be happier because that rhyming sucks. Now, let me talk about what I thought the cons were of the episode. So I'm going to start from the very beginning of the episode itself. I already saw 2 things wrong right away. The first is that when it's Thomas, James, and Emily puffing along on, like, I guess the main line and then, like, a junction where there's another line. Okay. Thomas pretty much goes across the points and continues on. And then, a second later, James puffs onto the same line. Now, please do not tell me that that is even possible or even right. I mean, there is no way that they should be that close to each other riding on the same rails. Okay, that's just stupid. Another thing about the opening scene is Hero is still on the island of Sodor. Come on. Why is Hero still on the island? He has a home. It's called Japan. Okay, I wouldn't mind it if Hero maybe showed up maybe once every season or maybe every other season. Because, I mean, he's an interesting character. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's awesome that their start into the CGI series was pretty much a new character from a different country. Okay, I mean, that's great and all. But there is a certain point where they're pretty much overusing him and making it ridiculous now. So, like I said, Hero, you need to get off the island and go back to Japan. Okay, we don't need you on Sodor all this time when you said how you miss your home. Okay? As I brought up before about how Flynn was saying he hasn't been on the roads in a long time, even though I brought up that there was a pro to that, it's still obviously a con. I mean, come on. Flynn, your actual main thing should be on a road. You're a fire truck. Okay? You should be on the road more than rails. Okay? So the fact that you haven't been on the road in a long time means something's wrong with you. Another thing is that he goes onto the road from the rails in a siding. A small siding with no buffers. Okay? That is not even possible. I'm not even going to argue with it. That's just sad and stupid, and apparently that's the only way Flynn can get onto the road. But anyways, and then he gets on the road, and his wheels start wobbling, and he's moving all weird. When you're on a road, and it's smooth like that they show it, you drive perfectly fine, even if you haven't been on the road in a long time. Okay? Seriously. But yeah, with Flynn having an issue with roads is pretty pathetic. The last con I have is, why does the Fat Controller have a shed again? I mean, maybe it's supposed to be the shed that Elizabeth was in back in season 6. Ooh. Then, of course, that must mean that she's burning alive in that building when that's happening. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah, so, and it's sad enough that that shed looks like the exact same building that was in Day of the Diesels that was already on fire and burning down. Can I say lazy much? Yes. So now I'd like to get to pretty much the overall review of the episode. So right away, it seems better than most of the episodes that were in season 15. It wasn't bad. It wasn't the best, but it was not bad. It's better than pretty much half the episodes of season 15. Average episode, it had its highs, it had its lows. I guess I would give it a 5.5 out of 10. Just because they fixed some things up, and even though the storyline was kind of crap, they seem to improve a little. Just away from animation, from going from 3 to 2 strikes. I think they fixed some things up, so I give them 5.5 out of 10. So thank you guys for listening, and the next one after this will hopefully be Old Wheezy Wobbles. Ooh, that sounds bad. So very bad. So thank you guys for watching. Until next time.